You guys remember back whenever Revelations was released for Xbox One and PC, there became this whole massive notion of a super Easter egg being 100% confirmed for Revelations and the rest of the zombies maps within Black Ops 3. It was something that was theorized for quite some time beforehand, yes, but this was the big coup de grace. Everybody thought this would be released at this point because at that point, whenever Xbox One and PC was released for Revelations, everybody had access to it. So therefore, it was thought there was a time-gated thing where something would be released once everybody had access to Revelations, and then the major Easter egg hunt was on. Everybody could go find what was the trigger for the major Easter egg, the overarching super Easter egg, if you will. And whenever people dove into the game files on the PC version, there was something that was a little bit out of place, that being a video file where everything was located for all the Easter egg intro cutscenes, outro cutscenes, things like that. In that same folder that held all of these important cutscenes to the zombie storyline was a brand new one with the demarcation ZM_Genesis, something that was not known about previously and was not a part of the intro or outro cutscenes for Revelations. Those had their own standalone files. This was something completely different, and the biggest part about this was it was encrypted, something that the other files were not at that point in time. This one was under lock and key, super tight, any way you want to put it. It was not something that was supposed to be seen as just simply from opening the file in the game files. Now, while ZM_Genesis was the codename and the internal build name for Revelations itself, where this became the root of much speculation was the fact that, once again, the intro and outro cutscenes for Revelations, which were already seen on PlayStation 4, were a separate entity. They were completely different, and of course, why would this then brand new file be super encrypted? Why would it be something so heavily secured that we couldn't just access it? So everybody thought that this was the Easter egg to end all Easter eggs, the super Easter egg cutscene, something that was a second ending to Revelations or something similar. However, that wasn't actually the case. Whenever decrypted, it was the Shadows of Evil intro. And well, for the longest time, we thought this was a major proverbial middle finger from Treyarch or a major troll or something like that, but it actually never was supposed to be there in the first place. This was something that many people theorized, but it was officially confirmed by Jason Blundell recently with an interview with Rad Austin, Johnny J25, and MC Sporton, in which he ended up talking about the entire situation and how it got to that point, which Jason Blundell said it was a complete fluke and something that was not supposed to be there at all, but instead it was something that they were trying to test out for the beginning of Revelations, and it ended up being just left in there. What they were doing was trying to encrypt files to see if they could do it, to see if people could get through the encryption on these files to make these outros something that they could maybe secure a little bit further. So they ended up leaving in some test files in which he says that there's now some tools they have to completely scan for anything that is not used in the game code, in the game files that aren't recalled from a trigger or something like that in game, but instead are just left there. They can now take that stuff out, but whenever they were in the process of developing Revelations, it simply just got left in there. So it was something that, of course, only seen via PC because PlayStation 4 users can't data mine that kind of information, but after Garage Crovy, when they were testing out some of this stuff, they wanted to see if they could make the ending of Zombies a little bit more heavily fortified and something that people just couldn't necessarily break into. So that, in a sense, is something that does make a lot of sense for that reasoning, but just sucks that it was left in here and was essentially this major troll to the community. So with that said, though, he also then later further on detailed that they entertained the notion of having a second Easter egg, something that overarched perhaps an alternate ending to Revelations and the Black Ops 3 storyline as a whole, but they then decided to scrap that early on in the development because they didn't want to take away from or misconstrue the ending and the true nature and what it meant for the zombie storyline. They didn't want to divert away from that at all. They wanted to simply let it be how it was and let us figure this out for the next chapter of Zombies to come in their next title. So in a sense, I guess you could say that the community was a little bit right on the idea of a super Easter egg. It was something that was played around with in the very early developments of Black Ops 3 Zombies, but never ended up making it to the full game. And perhaps it's a good thing, perhaps it's not, but regardless, we'll never know here because it never ended up happening. But that closes the book here now on this one in terms of the second ending for Revelations, that theory and major overarching story that still, even with Zombies Chronicles, kind of haunted the community a little bit, where many people thought there would be something for the longest time, kind of died down, but once again with Zombies Chronicles coming out, it reignited that flame just a tad, maybe not to the entirety that it was previously, but there was a little bit more interest once again. But this now confirms it that not only that the Revelations second Easter egg air quote ending cutscene was something that was a mistake, not only does it confirm that, but it also confirms that there is no overarching Easter egg, because Jason Blundell straight up comes out and says, you know what, we did think about it, but we didn't actually do it. Or perhaps it's all just one giant diversion and they want us to think this. Maybe Jason Blundell's saying they didn't do it just to distract from the fact that they actually did do it, and so we have to dig even further deeper. But in all seriousness, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, hopefully you guys enjoyed this little clarification, and with that said, if you guys did, make sure you drop a like down below. If you guys aren't new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe to stay up to date with everything we have here regarding Zombies Chronicles, zombies in general, Black Ops 3 multiplayer, World War II multiplayer, all that good stuff. We got you covered here up on the channel. Leave your thoughts down there as well. If you guys have anything to say on the subject, feel free to drop whatever it may be down there in the comments. And finally, if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, that's the best place to get Cackamary outside of YouTube. I practically live on Twitter, so if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, link is down there in the description below. But all that said and out of the way, hopefully you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks so much for watching. My name is Nikolai Espresso. Take care, and peace.